Hello everyone, I welcome you all for today's session. So in today's session we'll be studying about how to solve the two-dimensional state of stress on an oblique plane using Morse circle. Right, so in the previous session, in our previous video lecture, we have learnt about the analytical method, that is how using the formulas we can find the stresses that are coming in on oblique plane. Right, now this is the graphical procedure or a graphical method, and it is popularly known as Morse circle. Right, so let us start with today's video lecture. So to start with, I'll be starting with the same biaxial state of stress. So that is given by so this is sigma x on both the sides, sigma y, then you are having shear stress tau yx, and this is tau xy. Right, so this is the biaxial state of stress what I have considered. Now the same element I have also considered for the previous analytical method. Right, now using this, let me show you how to construct a Morse circle. What all are the salient points or the important points in Morse circle. So once we discuss this general thing regarding Morse circle, in the next session we will be taking up a problem. Right, so let us start with the today's video lecture. So first, to start with, I'll also consider an oblique plane at an angle theta. Let us say the plane is here at this angle theta. Right, so this is the biaxial element what I have considered. Now I'll be taking a reference plane. So as already discussed in the previous session, this vertical I'll take it as a reference plane. Right, this vertical I will take it as a reference plane. Right, so this is my reference plane. Now, important thing to start with is I will be considering two planes on which different stresses are acting. So which are those two planes? This is one plane, this is second plane. Right, the ones which I have marked with red, these are the two planes which I am going to consider. Right, now which are the, let me take this plane as plane A and this plane as plane B. Plane A and plane B. Right, so to start with, I will take this as plane A and this as plane B. Right, now I will be starting with plotting of the Morse circle. Okay, on plane A, I'll be drawing this separately. On plane A, this side. On plane A, this is my plane A. Here you are having sigma x and tau xy. Sigma x and tau xy. These are the two stresses which are coming here. Right, similarly on plane B, that was the horizontal plane, this one, here you are having sigma y and tau yx. Right, so this is plane B. Now how I can represent this plane A? Plane A can be represented by two stresses which are acting on that is sigma x comma tau xy. Similarly, plane B can be represented by sigma y comma tau y x, right? Now here sigma y is positive because it is tensile in nature, sigma x is positive because it is tensile in nature. Now tau xy, we already studied the sign conventions, so tau xy is making an anti-clockwise rotation, right? You can just check this arrow, it is making an anti-clockwise rotation, so it is positive. Whereas tau yx, this is the direction, so it is making an clockwise movement. So whenever you are having a clockwise movement, it is taken as negative, right? So it is taken as negative, minus tau yx, and so this is a prerequisite which you should know from the biaxial state of stress. Now we'll go further and check out how to plot it on Morse circle, right? Okay, in order to plot it for Morse circle, we require the x-axis and y-axis. So I have shown it here for you people. So x-axis I call it as x-axis. So here you are having sigma n along the x-axis, and along the y-axis, I'll call it as y-axis. Sometimes it is also known as ordinate axis. So here you are having tau, right? So along y-axis we are having shear stress, along x-axis I am having normal stress. Now let me plot the plane A and plane B. I know the coordinates, right? So if I just check it out, the coordinates, you can just check it here. A is sigma x into tau xy, both are positive. So when both are positive, it will be coming in this quadrant, right? Next, sigma y is positive and tau yx is negative, so it will be coming in this quadrant, right? So from the knowledge of mathematics, you know you can divide a graph into 4 quadrants: first quadrant, second quadrant, third quadrant, and fourth quadrant. So this is first, second, third, and fourth, right? So first, plane A, I am going to plot it on quadrant number 1 because both are positive, right? So I'll take up a point and plot plane A. I'll take up a point and plot plane A, right? So let me say that I am going to plot it here at certain distance. Okay, so this is plane A. So what are the coordinates of plane A? Coordinates of plane A are sigma x and tau xy, right? The coordinates here are sigma x and tau xy, right? Now similarly, I need to check out and plot plane B, whose coordinates are known. Coordinates are sigma y and minus tau yx, right? Coordinates I have taken it in the first step. So sigma y and minus tau yx. So one thing to be noted here is tau xy and tau yx are equal in magnitude, right? And the directions are different, right? So here I will assume that sigma x is greater than sigma y, because in the biaxial state of stress, whatever I have considered, they are not mentioned that whether sigma x is greater or sigma y is greater, right? So I'll assume that sigma x is greater than sigma y, right? Now, so sigma x is greater than sigma y, so I'll go for plotting of point B with the assumption that sigma x is greater than sigma y and tau xy is equal to tau yx. So I'll just check it out. How much is tau xy? Approximately. So it is approximately around 5.4. So I'll also take it from here, from this side, 5.4, right, 5.4. So I'll take this as point B. Coordinates of point B you already know. So coordinates of point B are sigma, tau yx, right? Now next I need to find out the normal stresses as well as principal stresses. So in order to do that, I'll join these two things. I'll join these 2 points. Right? And this I'll take it as the center. I will mark it as point number C, or I'll denote it as center. Right? Now I will join this such that there is a perpendicular dropping from plane B to the sigma n axis. Right? So I will join this as well. Okay, now what I can say is this is D, this is E. Okay, so once if this is done, what I have done, I have marked both the planes, then I have joined those coordinates and I marked the center. After marking the center, I have dropped perpendiculars from the planes such that it goes and touches the sigma n axis. Right, this is the normal stress axis. Now with AC as the radius, with AC as the radius, you can just check it out. AC. Right, with AC as the radius, you draw the circle, which I call it as Morse circle. Okay, right, so this is the circle what I have got. With AC as the radius, I have drawn the circle. Now what after that? Right, so there are many things which are to be marked. We'll go step by step. First, let me mark the principal stresses. Right, let me mark the principal stresses. So this is sigma y, tau yx. So principal stress, what is the definition of the principal stress? Principal stress is a stress on a plane where the shear stress is 0. Right? Now one thing is to be noted, all the points on this Mohr circle represent the state of a stress on a particular plane. I repeat, all the points on the Mohr circle represent the state of a stress on a particular plane. Right? So suppose this is on plane A, this is on plane B. So there may be infinite number of planes. Right? So any point on a Mohr circle is denoting a state of stress on a particular plane, right? Now you just check out on this circle where shear stress is 0, right? I know that this is tau axis, right? So that is y axis, and this is sigma n axis, which is normal stress. Now shear stress should be 0, right? So shear stress is along y axis, this is along x axis. So which are the points where shear stress will be 0? There are 2 points where shear stress will be equal to 0. So this is my first point where shear stress will be 0, and this is my second point where shear stress will be equal to 0, right? So this is the first point where shear stress will be equal to 0, right? Because shear stress is on y axis and the value of any point on x axis, its y coordinate will be 0, right? So this is first point and this is second point, or you can say this is the first plane and this is the second plane. These two are my principal planes. Next, how you are going to decide which is the principal plane, major principal plane and a minor principal plane, right? So as you have already discussed, there are two mutually perpendicular principal planes. So how I am going to decide which is major and which is minor? That is simple, by checking out the magnitudes. You know, I am going along the x-axis, so this point is having an x coordinate which is greater when compared to this. I repeat, this point is having an x coordinate or sigma n which is greater when compared to this. So it simply means that this point indicates major principal plane and this point indicates minor principal plane, right? So I'll take this as point G, I'll take this as point F, right? So this distance with respect to x-axis, this distance with respect to y-axis, this distance with respect to y-axis, right? So this distance I call it as sigma 1, that is major principal stress, right? And similarly this distance with respect to y-axis, this distance with respect to y-axis is sigma 2, that is minor principal plane, right? Fine. Next, once if this is done, we have located the principal planes, we have located the principal stresses. Next, let me locate an oblique plane on which we want to find the stresses, right? So that is, if you just consider the biaxial element, what I have considered initially, there I have a plane which is at some angle theta, right? So how you are going to mark that? In order to mark that, first I need to mark a plane at an angle 2 theta. Now how I decided that I need to mark it at an angle 2 theta, that is important, right? So now listen to me carefully, it is very important point, so please don't go wrong, right? So in this diagram, so if I consider this once again, so I have considered two planes, this is one plane, this is the second plane, right? So this is A and B, that is what I have considered. What is the angle between them? Angle between them is 90 degree. Angle between them is 90 degree. So this is A, this is B. Angle between them is 90 degree, right? But right, in this Mohr circle, when I have plotted it, the angle between A and B, you can just check out. So this angle is 180 degrees. This angle is 180 degrees. So what I am observing, so if the angle is theta degrees in general in the analytical method, then when you are plotting it on Mohr circle, it becomes double, right? It becomes 2 theta. right? So that is the reason what I am trying to tell you people is, here since the angle is theta with respect to the reference plane, so this I have taken it as a reference plane which is A, right? So that plane I have marked it here, right? So this is the reference plane A. So with respect to this I need to mark an oblique plane at an angle 2 theta, right? I hope you got to know why I have taken the angle as 2 theta, right? So at this point from this plane I need to mark a plane which is at an angle of 2 theta with respect to A, 2 theta with respect to A, right? So let us assume that that angle comes somewhere over here, right? So this distance I'll take it as 2 theta, 2 theta. Okay, now you may ask me why you have taken in this direction only. That is also important, right? So I also have an answer for that. Okay, here you can just check it out. So from this reference plane theta is moving in this direction, theta is moving in clockwise direction. So this plane is having an angle theta with respect to this reference at an angle theta such that angle theta is moving in a clockwise direction. So from reference plane theta should be marked in clockwise direction. So what is my reference plane? What is my reference plane? A is my reference plane. So from A, so this is the clockwise direction, right? According to this point A, with respect to this point A, this is my clockwise direction. That is the reason I have marked it at an angle of 2 theta, right? So this I'll take it as point number H. I'll call this as plane number H. So this is an oblique plane, right? So this is an oblique plane. I'll write here, this is an oblique plane. So this is an oblique plane. Now once if I located all these things, I need to find out the value of sigma n and tau, sigma n and tau on this oblique plane. So how we are going to do that? It is very simple. You just need to draw a perpendicular. You just need to draw a perpendicular from this point. Just need to draw a perpendicular from this point, right? Now whatever value you are getting here, this distance, I'll write it here, I'll mark it here, right? What I have done, I have just taken this perpendicular, the same perpendicular I have extended here. So this is value of normal stress on oblique plane, right? So this is sigma n on oblique plane, sigma n on oblique plane, right? Now respectively the same thing you need to do it on the left hand side. So if I project the same thing here on this side, left hand side, so this distance is tau on oblique plane, right? So this is tau on oblique plane. So now I got the value of shear stress as well as normal stress on an oblique plane. Now let me find the location of principal stresses. So location of principal stresses, I already know which are the principal planes. F and G are the principal planes, right? So how you are going to mark the location? Just by using angles. So I'll mark those here. So the first principal plane, so G is the principal plane which is giving me major principal stress. So this angle in this direction, right? So this I call it as 2 theta P1. I already told you, any angles which I mark on Mohr circle with respect to the center will be always double when compared to the analytical method. So theta P1 is the angle for major principal plane. So for major principal plane, which is Z, I have marked it as 2 theta P1 with respect to the reference plane A, right? Because my reference plane is fixed. Similarly, I need to mark the angle of minor principal plane. Minor principal plane is plane number F, right? This is the minor principal plane, right? So for that, I'll mark the angle as, this is the angle, right? So this angle is given as 2 theta P2, 2 theta P2, right? So I have marked three angles, don't get confused. 2 theta is the angle for this oblique plane, 2 theta P1 is the angle for major principal plane, and 2 theta P2 is the angle for minor principal plane. Everything is marked with respect to the reference plane A, right? Fine. Next, I need to mark the last point which will be asked majority of the times, that is, I need to mark a plane on which maximum shear stress acts. Maximum shear stress is going to act. I need to mark that plane. So since this is the circle, which is the maximum point on the circle, because I am interested in maximum shear stress, my shear stress will be along y-axis, right? My shear stress will be along y-axis. So in this direction, which is the maximum point, how we are going to find it out? You just place your scale, and whichever is the highest point, so this is the point of maximum shear stress, or the plane on which maximum shear stress acts, right? So I'll call it as plane number J, right? So on plane number J, you are having two things. Here also you are having sigma n comma tau max, sigma n comma tau max, right? Because here, if you are going to just check this out, if I just connect this, right? If I just connect this and take it onto the left hand side, so I'll just project it over here on the left hand side, right? So this value on the left hand side, this value on the left hand side gives me tau max. That is, J represents a plane on which you are having maximum shear stress. And always remember, on principal planes, normal stress will be there and shear stress will be 0. Please note my words. On principal planes, that is G and F, normal stress will be always there and shear stress will be 0. But on a plane on which shear stress is maximum, right? On that plane, normal stress will not be 0. There will be some value of normal stress, right? Fine. Okay, next let us go with calculation part. So this is all about representation part. Now let us go with the calculation part and just check it out that what all are the angles which we can calculate here, right? So let us start with that. Okay, let us start with the calculation part. So in calculation part, first I'll be calculating the value of tau max. How to calculate the value of tau max? First thing what I need to remember is tau max is always equal to the radius of Morse circle. Radius of Morse circle, right? So tau max is always equal to radius of Morse circle. So how you are going to calculate radius? In order to calculate radius, first let me consider diameter, because diameter divided by 2 gives me radius, right? So diameter divided by 2 gives me tau max. Why? Because I told you tau max is equal to radius of the Morse circle. You can just check it out. So this is point J. From C to J it is nothing but radius, right? So in order to calculate that, I know that radius is 50% of diameter, right? So I have written the same thing. Diameter divided by 2 is equal to tau max. Now diameter is given by F and G, the distance FG. Distance FG divided by 2 gives me tau max, right? Distance FG. Now what is this F and G? What is the distance FG? So that you will get it to know here. G from y-axis is sigma 1 and F from y-axis is sigma 2. So this distance FG, how you write it? You will simply write it as FG can be written as FG can be simply written as, I told you, point G is sigma 1, point F is sigma 2, right? So this FG can be simply written as sigma 1 minus sigma 2, sigma 1 minus sigma 2 divided by 2. This 2 or this 2 I have kept it as it is. So that is going to give me tau max, right? So that is the maximum value of shear stress. So this is important for us. This is the maximum value of shear stress. Next let me calculate the next normal value, that is I got to know what is tau max, right? I got to know what is tau max. So this value I got to know what is this value. I am also interested in finding out what is sigma n, right? So sigma n is given by this distance. This is sigma n, right? So this dotted line, I am interested to find out normal stress on the shear plane, on the plane for which shear stress is maximum. I repeat, I am interested to find out the normal stress on a plane where shear stress is maximum. So that plane is J. So on this plane normal stress is sigma n. So sigma n, how we are going to denote sigma n? So from this point to this point it is sigma n. So either you can call, if you take this point as origin, then, right? So it is OC, or you can take it as, yes, OC is the value which is equivalent to sigma n, right? So I need to calculate, just write it here. I am interested in calculating the value of normal stress on a plane where maximum shear stress acts. Right? So that is sigma n. So sigma n is equal to, so I'll just show it to you what is sigma n. I told you it is point O and C. So that distance gives me maximum shear stress. So I'll just write it as OC. Right? So how you are going to write this OC in turn? OC can be written as OD plus DC. Right? OD plus DC. OC can be written as OD plus DC. So it is written as OD plus DC. Right? Now sigma n is equal to, I am interested in finding what is DC. If you are interested to find what is DC, right, I'll go up to this point. I'll take point number D, point number C, point number E. Right? I'll concentrate on D, C and E. I'll draw it here separately for you people, because if I just tell it there itself you will not understand. Right? So I'll take 3 points. So I'll call this point as E, I'll call this point as C, I'll call this point as D. Right? Now let me find the distance of each of these points with respect to y-axis. Now let me find the distance of each of these points with respect to y-axis. Right? So if I just check it out, right, DE, how I get this point DE, D and E. Right? So this point is E. I am interested in finding out normal stresses, so I just concentrate on the normal axis. What is the coordinate of this point? Right? What is the coordinate of this point here in this case? Coordinate of x-axis or normal stress axis for point number E. What is that? It is sigma x. Right? I repeat, coordinate of point E. I'll be just writing the coordinates of point E. What are the coordinates of point E? Since it is on x-axis, its y coordinate will be 0 and its x coordinate is sigma x. So the coordinates of point E are sigma x comma 0. Right? And the next coordinates of point D are, once again it is on x-axis, so y-axis or y coordinate will be 0, and here the normal, along the normal, its coordinate is sigma y. Right? Its coordinate is, so this distance from O to D is sigma y. So the coordinates of point D are sigma y comma 0. Sigma y comma 0. Right? Sigma y comma 0. Then DE is equal to, I have already assumed that sigma x is greater than sigma y, so it is sigma x minus sigma y. But DC is equal to DE divided by 2. therefore what I'll be doing, I'll be dividing by 2 on both the sides. I'll be dividing by 2 on both the sides. So it is d divided by 2 is equal to sigma x minus sigma y divided by 2. So what is this term d divided by 2? It is nothing but dc. So therefore dc is equal to sigma x minus sigma y divided by 2. Same thing I'll be substituting here. ODE is nothing but sigma y plus DC is sigma x minus sigma y divided by 2. So sigma n is equal to sigma y by 2 minus sigma y by 2 plus sigma y plus sigma x by 2. I'll be getting this equation. Right? It is a minus b by c. So it is a by c minus b by c. So as a result, sigma n is equal to OC is equal to sigma x plus sigma y divided by 2. Right? So this is the expression for normal stress on a plane on which maximum shear stress acts. Right? So that's it for today's session. Have a good day. Take care. Bye bye.